Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Clocking In, where we talk about everything that happens on the pit, all the fun stuff, all of the things that that the show is known for. We discuss it all, we talk about it all. And last week's episode was a doozy to talk about. This week's episode kind of continues the theme of the doozy, but we're all going to talk about it. And when I say we, of course, I mean myself. I mean Chase Oliver. Chase, how are you doing this fine evening?
Doing well, doing well. Saw some Pit memes earlier. Saw like an interview with the guy who plays Lannon, Patrick Ball. Apparently, he was broke as hell before he got to the Pit.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I saw that. More power to him. He said he was, whatever happens, it paid all of his debt. He had 80K in student debt or something like that, and this
yeah,
not paid it off. So hey,
damn,
man,
they must be paying a lot because I know some people who have done TV shows and it's
yeah,
like they don't get paid that much. Like I know some people who've done Marvel movies and those intro Marvel contracts. It's like hey, you got to prove yourself and stuff. But yeah, man, shout out to the Pit. They're obviously forking over big money. So if you're on the show, you made some money off of it.
yeah. I think the show producers and creators and Noah Wiley, of course, is one of them. But like, I think they all kind of realize that they're asking a lot of these individuals, and so they need to be paid commensurate. And a lot of them are also theater kids, so for them, this is probably the first taste of like real money that they've had.
Oh
So
yeah.
congratulations to any and all members of the
Yeah,
pit crew.
unless they're doing like the New York shows and everything, like on in the big areas, often you ain't making money doing theater, man.
Yeah. So like,
You might as well get
congratulations
a you might as well get a part-time job while
to
you're
all
doing
of
that.
them. Yeah. I mean, speaking of theater, there's a video that's making the rounds of Isa Briones and her singing, and we are going to talk a little bit about her singing in this episode. But this was seeing that video, I think I said it to you, and I said this girl will do anything but get to her charting,
Yeah.
which is, I'm not the first person to come up with that joke, but but it is a good one. This was a fun episode. Before we get into it, what were your general thoughts when you were getting ready to hit play? Right, like you knew we had just finished with the debrief on Louis and everything like that. Were you like, I really hope this show gives me a breather? Were you like, let's like keep hitting with the where were you in a headspace? Because it had been a week, right? It had been a week from when we had seen the debrief with
hmm
Louis. Now we're getting ready. What were your thoughts coming into this episode?
Well, see, John, I'm a lunatic. So after the episodes air and I watch them, I go to the HBO Max YouTube channel to watch the preview of the next
Yes,
episode because
yes.
I need to know what
Uh-huh.
happens. So once I saw the scenes, I'm like back to business, which I was very happy about. Like I was just hoping it was back to business. By the way, I know most people from the True Heat universe are wrestling fans. You are tuning in, listening to this while watching Dynamite. Awesome. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we do appreciate you guys if you are doing that. As always, remember, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button. If you are not already a member or a subscriber to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, please do that. If you're not a member here on the Sports Entertainment channel, please do that. We'll be covering a lot of the things that we talk about here on this channel a little bit later, but in order to do that, we got to talk about everything that took place on the Pit episode for 1 p.m. Now, coming out of the debrief that I was talking about, the emotional debrief with Louis passing, it is kind of like, as Chase said, it is kind of like back to business, and almost immediately we have something that takes like a little bit of a turn, in that we have an announcement of a sexual assault victim. And what's interesting here is
Mhm.
that you need to have a uh, nurse examiner, or an examiner that's going to take care of this individual. And once they start, they cannot leave that person, or leave the room. Meaning to say, as we will find out, the victim, they can leave the room, but the nurse has to remain in the room with all of the material that's being collected, the DNA samples and so on and so forth, because it's chain of evidence. It's custody of evidence, chain of evidence for legal proceedings. If they do identify who that person, that DNA belongs to, and if that person wants to press charges, or if the DA wants to press charges, you need to be able to prove in court that nothing was tampered with this DNA. As some of you guys may remember, this was one of the arguments that was used during the O.J. Simpson trial, was a lot to do with the tampering or mishandling of DNA evidence. And DNA evidence was a very new science back then. So they kind of didn't know what they didn't know in that sense. And now, obviously, this is 20, 30 years later, they have a much stringent guide, particularly in hospitals. So Dana, she can't leave. She's the only SANE trained individual. Dr. Al-Hashimi says she's so they grab Emma to kind of teach her. With Emma, man, like, talk about a first day for Emma.
Right.
She's getting dragged all over the place, and she's going to help this individual with Al-Hashimi, with Dana, and there's like a little subtle nod that's not so subtle from Al-Hashimi, where it's like, yeah, more nurses should be training for this. And she's like, yeah, that's your indicator, Emma, that you should be working on this. But what I thought was really funny was this was one of those times in this season where Princess gets voluntold to do something. She's voluntold by Perla. Perla just volunteers her to be in essence, new charge nurse while Dana is out, which means she's going to run the pit, basically. Because, like, as we learned in the previous episode, the nurses are the ones that run the place. The doctors just happen to work there.
Yeah.
So, really now, Princess is like, son of a bitch, why do I got to be in charge of this? But this was a very emotional,
very intense
case or patient. Dana breaks down during the time where the victim leaves. They try to get her as comfortable as they can. They try to get through the process. She kind of just like, she meaning the victim, Alana, is just like, let's get through this. Like, let's just get this done and over with. And it pops up, like they have it be a recurring thing throughout the entire course of this episode. Kind of starts at the beginning, sort of punctuates towards the end. But this is kind of it's tough. Like, it's got to be tough. And I can only... my heart goes out to any victim in such a manner, but it makes me really think about the medical staff that has to treat them. And because this is like, I want to try to phrase this properly, because I don't want to sound callous when I say this, because like something like this happening to an individual, terrible. Somebody who has to treat this and sees multiple, it's not happening to them, but multiple instances of this over the course of a career, over the course of just a few months, a year, with the sheer number of times that somebody's taken advantage of. That's like that, just the mental toll and the psyche of how that has to affect that person and how that affects their interactions with other people. You have to imagine this is one of those things that one contributes to burnout, but specifically when it comes to Dana, informs so much of why she's like, something would happen with Driscoll and hula hoop. It cannot happen again, which we will see. Like, so it is how what were your thoughts as we were introduced to Elena and as we started to see her arc over the course of this episode?
Man, these scenes were really intense, man. Like, I'm being that honest, like on the rewatch, I slowly fast forward through them, because I remember the first time I watched it, I was feeling uncomfortable just like watching this and just thinking about like what this person went through, and especially on a day like 4th of July, where 4th of July is supposed to be like one of those days that you treat as like I think like no matter how much you feel about America or whatever, you don't have to be patriotic to enjoy a good old 4th of July barbecue or a good old day of 4th of July. You know, whether you have like traditions with family or not, but I always feel 4th of July, that's like a very lax day for people. That's a day people are a little bit more relaxed than usual, especially if you have a day off. And now this woman, anytime 4th of July hits, it's always going to be that day. That's going to be like, and it's not an easy day. It's not like it's never easy for these sexual assault victims, but this makes it even worse because now it's on a holiday like 4th of July that gets celebrated, and it's supposed to be a day when, and she will be most likely get invited out to go again. And how is she going to feel comfortable to ever do that again?
Think about it. It's a federal holiday. So unless you work a job that requires you to go in, she's going to have the day off. She's going to have to sit there and think about it and remember that this day that I'm supposed to have one of your few federally granted holidays,
right.
you got to deal with this shit. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you have to remember like one of the more traumatic things in your life, which sucks. Like that's something that I was thinking about watching. I'm like, damn, it's not just like, yeah, it sucked what happened to this character, but it also it's on a holiday like 4th of July that is, like you said, a federal holiday, a day that it's supposed to be about relaxing, having a good time with family and friends. She's not going to associate that holiday with family, friends, and good times anymore. And it's going to take a while because sexual assault victims, unfortunately, there's a lot of trauma that comes with that. It's a lot of mental trauma, physical trauma. It's just not the same. Like some people are strong and they're able to battle through it, but other people, sometimes it takes them a long time for them to get over what happened to them.
Yeah, and it's I mean, a lot of times the statistics show that it's not always somebody who you don't know, right? It's not like some dickbag grabs you off the street or something
Hmm.
like that.
That's always someone
It,
you know.
it's someone you know. And in this situation, it is someone she knows. It's a guy who she considered a friend. And when that, like, you think about that also, and that idea that, to your point about people inviting you, right, for on July 4th and things like that, she's going to have a very difficult decision about what she's going to do with her friend group, whether there's mutual friends involved and what she's going to tell them. And at different points she starts making excuses for his behavior. She starts saying, like, maybe I don't want to report it, like what exactly am I going to do? I
Hmm.
It's a fictional character, but it's a fictional character that represents a real problem uh
Yeah.
in the world, not specifically the United States, but like in the world. And I don't I never understood the idea behind it. Like, I get the concept of the power dynamic, or like, you feel you get something that you don't like, but it just it never in my mind it could
Do,
not
do,
possibly
do,
compute.
do you know why, John? Because you and I, we're normal human beings, and
I'd like to think so.
I also hate when people call themselves good people, but we are considered good people because these are taboo thoughts that we never would act on. Like we wouldn't act on it because we were raised properly, we were taught properly,
I mean,
not to.
I've gotten into multiple funnily enough, I've gotten into multiple fights because somebody was trying to take advantage of
Fighting is different. I'm talking about like
no,
harming.
but I'm saying to stop somebody from doing something like
Yeah,
that.
no, fighting is different. I'm talking about harming someone for no reason or and
Right,
stuff, and whether
right.
that's me sexually or you just want to fight someone like that. That's different than like freaking like, oh, I'm trying to defend someone's honor and shit like that. Like the people like this that do these type of things, no matter like a lot of times, unfortunately, with the sexual assault victims, the person who did the assault, they'll be, oh, I was drunk and stuff. Just because you drunk does not mean that you did not have these thoughts. Like you are just doing something when you get drunk or high or whatever you are when you do this, that is you really showing your true character and stuff. That
Yeah,
is
the
you
inhibition.
showing, yeah, you are because you are thinking, oh, this is blah blah blah. Like you're not thinking straight and you're now acting on what you think is right and stuff. Yeah, it's really tough and it's really sad to see this happen to a character, especially like we mentioned, like on a holiday. And like these scenes are just, like I said, very intense. It's one of those where it's like it's a very intense episode, I would say, for
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
for these scenes and everything that was going on with this woman and Dana and then Emma as well. It's like it's a very there's like it's very uncomfortable at some points when you're watching this episode. That doesn't make it bad. It's just it's very uncomfortable when you watch it. And
Yeah.
so when rewatching it, it's kind of like I was like, I kind of don't. I know it's part of the show, but I'm like, I know what happens. I have a good long term
I
memory. I
honestly,
can talk about it.
I knew this was coming because obviously we've seen these episodes, but like I forgot when it happens. So when it started, I was like, "Oh shit, this is
Yeah.
yeah, fuck." I was like, "God." And one other thing, just to piggyback off what you were saying, and then we'll move on to our next segment or our next bit of the of scenes. Um, I do want to add one other thing, is because you were saying like the idea of people trying to use the excuse of you're drunk and these are the thoughts that you have normally. If you know you have these thoughts, that's one thing. But in general, if you have noticed or your friends point out to you that you are a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more handsy or whatever the case may be when you're drinking, then in my view, and it's just my view alone, you have a moral obligation to either stop drinking or whatever it is that substance is that affects you, or to figure out what your limit is.
Yeah.
Because once you stop being in control of your faculties, it's like, and we're gonna get into another thing where like the legal basis of like what it means to be legal human rights and things like that. But like, this is a concept where it's like, if you can't control yourself and you know that, or you're close to understanding that, in my view, you have an obligation to reduce or cut down or whatever the case may be, so that you don't engage in that behavior.
Yeah, because like when I get drunk, my friends know I'm just a happy drunk, so they know I wouldn't do anything harmful. I am hugging everyone. I go to them and I say I love you, brother, and stuff like that. They know, like even my female friends, they know. They're just like, no, that's just Chase. Like we trust Chase more and stuff, because like lot of the people, like I've taught a lot of my female friends self-defense tips, especially from like the bottom of they were being assaulted or felt like they were being taken advantage of. One of them actually says she used it in a case of a situation when she was in college at Cal State Chico. A guy that she kind of knew from like a study group was kind of, being aggressive, and she did the armbar technique that I taught her and stuff. And a lot of them, I tell them, I'm like, hey, look, I know it sounds terrible, but you have to give them the idea, because the whole point of like submission and self-defense, like especially for women, I always tell them, make it feel like they're in control until they're not in control. You're pretty much setting a mousetrap on them. And I said, look, if they just touch you in the boobs and that's it, that you win. Because once they get in that position, bam, you can get the arm bar and then later on and stuff. So thankfully she was able to get away and stuff. And I don't know what happened after that. She just told me that my techniques were very useful that one night and stuff. So she learned from me. So yeah, I'm very much like, yeah, I just hate when women get taken advantage of, and not just women, men too. There's instances of men, especially men that are with male partners, or like have male partners. Sometimes the male partner will be aggressive. Like it's not just one gender; it's both genders. But yeah, I just hate when that happens, and it's just like it's just one of those scenes. Like it's an HBO show. They're gonna touch the uncomfortable situations. It wouldn't be an HBO show if they weren't going for something that would make you feel uncomfortable. I mean, heck, in a few episodes, we get one of the hottest topics going on in the world today, and it's like they talk about and they tackle that.
Yeah. But let's move on to our next little bit. We have our ASL, our deaf patient, who is just begging Santos do something, and Santos is trying to get the virtual reality interpreter to work, and the computer system isn't working properly. Potentially a foreshadowing of things to happen. Who knows? But Santos kind of leaves, and we're gonna get a continuation of this. Where she's trying to figure out what's going on with the ASL. She gets finally does get an interpreter at one point. The interpreter is trying to figure out what's going on, and Santos just keeps getting pulled away. He's just like, hey, give me a second, I'll be right there. How did you feel about Santos in this episode, considering we have this with the deaf patient, but then also at the same time, we have her trying to get the charting done, but and she can't because of just being busy. And then now when she does get an opportunity, the baby starts crying, baby Jane Doe. And she goes there to finally comfort this baby because nobody else can get this baby to shut up. And Nurse Jesse is funny. He's like, she's cranky because she's got rhinovirus. Like, what is your issues compared to this infant's? And she ends up singing a song in Tagalog to the baby. The baby does calm down, but we have Santos unable to deal properly with the ASL patient. We also have two different patients that she treats well and gets, Al Hashimi puts her over because of that, does give her praise. How did you feel about Santos over the course of this episode?
Yeah, it just kind of felt like they were trying to make Santos look better in this episode, because the last few episodes they've been kind of shitting on her. Like, it's been kind of like she can't really do a good job. So it was kind of nice that she got an episode where it's like, oh yeah, she can be a capable doctor, or remember, she's pretty good at her job. So it was good for her to kind of get those props in this episode. But I don't know, none of the plot points were that interesting. The poor deaf patient, I'm just like, oh my god, like this poor woman, she just wants to know what's wrong with her. Can we fix her, please?
Meanwhile, there is a patient that we do know what's wrong with her, but it doesn't seem to be anything that can really be fixed. She just has to wait. And it is Roxy, our cancer patient. She is trying to get convinced by McKay and Robbie that it's time to head out. More Robbie than McKay. Robbie really is trying to do what they want him to do, which is get people in, get people out. We got all these Westbridge people. That's kind of been his thing this season, is we've got these Westbridge people. Let's try to move them. But Roxy is kind of adamant that she doesn't want to leave, and her husband comes back with the kids, but she's still kind of not wanting to. And she points out to her husband, she's like, I don't want the house to feel like a grave, to feel like a tomb. And her, the husband's like, the husband's just like, hey, I would be honored if our house was a grave. I was like, I don't know if you should say that. But and then her kid's like, can we not talk? Can we not compare our house to a grave? Which I was like, that's thinking with your dipstick right there. But it does seem as though things are starting, like it's not the best situation for her, and she really does not want to go home. And I did appreciate that Robbie, did finally take a step back, because he hadn't really seen this individual. He had not seen her during the course of this treatment. Now he does, and when he's confronted with seeing this person, old Robbie comes back, and that empathy comes in, and Robbie takes a step back, and he's like, you know what? He doesn't like fully sign off yet on the idea of having her stay here, stay at the pit, but he's more inclined to be like, all right, let's have the conversation. How did you feel about Roxy this episode? There wasn't as much, for her compared to some of the previous ones, but we are building with her. So how did you feel about her this one?
Yeah, no, I thought it was very, very strong and stuff, because like she was primed, ready to go, and then she's just like, no, I don't want to go. I want to be able to, be. She wants to go out on her own terms, and I think Dr. Robbie kind of realized that when she kind of made that statement, I don't want my house to feel like a grave. And it's kind of almost like Dr. Robbie, like, even though like the empathy kicked in, I feel like Dr. Robbie, that's something that kind of hit him close to home, that maybe he doesn't want to make his own home or his own area his own grave when he does decide, because we kind of learn more about Dr. Robbie. See, the more you watch the season, the more you kind of like understand some of Dr. Robbie's like reasonings behind things. So I felt like this was more like Dr. Robbie understood what she meant, because he doesn't want to make the house that he's currently living in his own grave, and he doesn't want it where people know this house as like, oh, that's the house where the doctor died in.
Yeah, it is a good glimpse behind it, because like, why is he trying to leave on this sabbatical? Like, what is going on? We keep getting this feeling that there's something more permanent about what he's saying, and he does actually make another allusion to that, his leaving being permanent. But there's so many different things that are going on with this one, with this season with Robbie, and seeing him in this episode right after the episode where Louis passed. It's really fascinating, because we get some seeds for different things that are going to be popping up down the road. But okay, we will. I don't want to go through too much of this next plot point, because I know you're not
one. It's your favorite one, John.
I know you're not a big fan of this.
It's
However,
your favorite.
This is the episode that actually, like, means the most to me out of this patient. So Jackson has woken up. His parents want to take him home, but the hospital says they can't release him because he's under involuntary hold. And they're saying we can have the psychiatrist talk to you. The psychiatrist is saying, hey, like he's hearing voices. It's a little bit more complicated.
Did they cancel him and did they understand, John?
We do.
Did they tell him things that they want to do? Did
They
show him things they'll do to
told
you?
him they did not tell him to call Pat McAfee. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, what? But he's the future of the business.
But the sister finds out because they start talking a little bit about family history that mental health issues run in the family, and a part of me is like, wait a minute, this whole thing is going off the rails.
Yeah,
you need to tell me, which I'm like, I get it. Mental health is always a stigma in a number of families and a number of cultures. African American, absolutely, it's there. But you mean to tell me that these parents did not tell their daughter, who is an adult, by the way, that there's mental health issues that run in the family, including but not limited to schizophrenia? Like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? What's going on? Like that alone, I was like, okay, hold up. But then previously, this concept of the involuntary hold. Now, I'm not here to get on my like libertarian soapbox. Maybe I am. But the idea that hospitals can put people under involuntary holds and then their guardians, in essence, they wouldn't, I mean, if you were able to sign away power of attorney or power of health attorney and you were able to give it to somebody, not your wife, not your, whatever, that would go to your parents, that the hospital can overrule that person just doesn't sit well with me. And as you guys know, since we've been doing these reviews, my wife's a nurse. So I paused this episode and we had an argument about whether or not this made any form of sense whatsoever. And I'm rewatching this and I'm still like, yeah, no, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't agree with this at all.
TV show, John. Come on.
But it's a real thing. And we've had situations.
It's like the people that hate the new Mario movie. I'm like, guys, it's made for kids. Like, what are you expecting?
But this, I mean, like this is an.
You see that movie yet?
No, not yet. I just actually a couple days ago I saw the first one for the first time.
What'd you think of that one?
I really liked it. It had some good Easter eggs for Mario.
This one has a lot of Easter eggs.
Yeah. See, my speaking of my wife, my sister-in-law really liked the first one, and so she wants to see the second one. And so because of that, we were like, all right, let's watch this first one.
So my this is my review. Quick review. I'll say this: it's made for kids. It's like, when people TikTok doom scroll and Instagram doom scroll at night and they're just like watching a bunch of different shorts. Yeah. That's what this movie feels like. They just put a bunch of different shit together and then they slapped it into a movie. But you know what? Sure. It works for the kids. The kids love it. There's no plot. Like if you said, Chase, what's the plot of the movie? I'll be like, I can't tell you. I don't know what direction they're going. It really just, it's a mess of a movie. But when I asked my girlfriend's little sister, did you like the movie? She said it was excellent. And that's all that matters to me. Yeah. Because guess what? This movie's crushing it in the box office. Yeah. It's going to do well. And the movie, at the end of the day, I have to say to myself, these movies are made for children and not made for the 33-year-old man child and myself. Like, they're not made for my, just go there, turn on. So if you're someone that is going to review, if you're asking me as a movie, this is horrendous as a movie. But in terms of just turning off your brain, watching Yoshi be an idiot, watching Mario, no, he's an idiot through the whole of the movie. He actually carries the movie. He's like the MVP of the movie. Like, he does everything. Like Bowser's barely in this shit. Like, dude, they're like, Jack Black, sorry, we can't afford you this time around.
They're like, all this money's got to go to Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt's rate went up, brother. Yeah, Bowser's barely in this movie. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but he barely is. Like, he's not like he was the best part of the first movie for me. But yeah, no, Yoshi carries this movie. The rest of the movie is just a bunch of goofiness. But if you're a Nintendo fan, you'll like all the Easter eggs. You'll like all the callbacks. The soundtrack's amazing. Visually, one of the better 3D movies I've seen. This movie was visually stunning. So I'll say that. So, but yeah, no, it's made for kids. There, if you guys want your video game movies to be good, just watch the Sonic movies. All three of them have been excellent. The Sonic movies, bro. Oh my god.
I haven't seen them, but
No, bro, you gotta watch them. That after we do the Spider-Man review, we'll do the Sonic the Hedgehog reviews.
But yeah, see, like this thing with this involuntary hold, it's just like it upsets me, the idea of somebody else can step in and like forcibly, like, because he hasn't hurt anybody. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying, like, if somebody commits a crime, that's.
I wonder if it's because of the drug they put him under. Because
No. So I've actually been part of somebody getting Baker acted before. There, when I was going through basic training, we had an individual who expressed that he had self-harm ideation and potentially, harm to others. So because of that, he was not allowed to touch a weapon. He had to take anything and everything that was could be used to, hurt yourself, like choke yourself, anything like that, anything sharp, removed. So he lost all like shoelaces, any kind of belt, anything like that. Everything was taken from him. Then on top of that, he was removed from everybody else and placed into a separate room because I'm sure it's still like this. I went through basic like 16 years ago, but like it was large bays, like 60, 70 bunk bed bays. And so like he had to be removed from that, put into a room with like just one person. And then normally speaking, each bay is responsible for 2 people who have to stay awake and do what's called fire guard. And that's in quite literally like, is the building on fire? No. Okay. And so you have to, and so every 4 hours you would go to sleep and wake somebody else up, and then they would stay awake for 4 hours. So now on top of that, our bay was responsible for assigning 2 people to watch this guy every night. So, and they had to switch off every 4. So 4 people had to watch this guy. And he did this. I oftentimes I wonder, like, is he all right? But like he did this fairly early on in our basic training. So we were watching him for like a solid month. Every single night, had to make sure that this guy had additional people watching.
He probably cracked during training, to be honest.
Well,
like,
he was a guy, like, very, very soft spoken, very mild mannered guy, nicest guy that I knew there. He was in my platoon and everything like that, and one of the nicest guys that I met in the entirety of the time that I was in the military, and I knew him for probably one of the least amounts of time.
Did his dad serve in the military?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Because sometimes those kids who have had army parents and then those army parents force them, they're the ones that like.
And I'm not saying like I'm some fucking genius or anything like that, but like you have to take an entrance exam to figure out what jobs you're able to do. And like, I mean, for the most part, it's not a tough exam. But I know the only person I ever met who had a higher score than me on that test was him. So like we would have continued together, gone to Fort Huachuca for military intelligence training, because he was going to be an intelligence analyst just like I was. There was a whole bunch of us in that group that continued onwards to Huachuca. And so like this idea, like brilliant kid, brilliant guy, but like, and eventually he did get medically chaptered out, medically discharged from the Army, because like obviously he can't do his job. But this idea of putting somebody under involuntary hold, that's different. The reason why that's different to me is because when you join the Army, you sign your life away. Like you're saying, I'm going to follow UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. Whatever happens, happens. Like if you have to go to Leavenworth because you did something wrong, you got to go. You don't really get a choice. And so that situation, this person having that done to them, I get it. In this kind of a situation, I'm still like, wait a minute, how are we putting this person under involuntary hold? He's not trying to harm anybody. He's not trying to harm himself. He's not trying to harm anybody else. If his parents are like, hey, we want to check this kid out and let him rest at home, they should be allowed to do that. Now, once they're told, hey, there's some issue with schizophrenia, and we had a psychiatrist look at him, and then they're like, oh, well, in our family, this, that, and the third. That changes it. But from the moment that they're told that they have an involuntary psych hold, they have to be the ones that change their mind. If they don't change their mind, to me, I think that the person should be, discharged into their care. Like that's it's just, and we've had issues with this in the past with hospitals and medical professionals and whatnot. Being like the case that comes to mind is the I forget his name right now. I think it was Charlie, that little baby who was only, a couple months, maybe within 2 years old, that was in a hospital in England.
Yeah.
And the parents wanted to remove him, so try to get life-saving care in the United States. The hospital said no, because they believed that the care that the child would get in the United States would not save his life. And my perspective was, fuck you guys, that's my child. And the hospital went to the court system, and the court system in the UK were like, yeah, no, we're siding with the hospital. And they tried to appeal it, and every level that they went up there, the next court was like, no, we're ruling in favor of the hospital. That is bonkers to me. Like the idea that it's not even the government at that point. It's still just a private entity, this hospital, that step in. Granted, I mean, it's the National Health Service. It is sort of quasi government entity, but like this idea that they're just able to put somebody, like, take your rights away when you haven't harmed anybody. You have every right to be a harm to yourself, because if the idea is that you could be a harm to yourself, other people, fine, I get that, but a harm to yourself, well, then by that token, we should outlaw weed, we should outlaw alcohol, we should outlaw any substance that affects your body to the point that you could harm yourself, because the idea is you would be a harm to yourself. As far as I'm concerned, like, that's the logical step, but. Yeah. I mean, whatever. That's my. I guess I did get on my personal autonomy soapbox, but
yeah, you're like talking about this, like you're the one trying to convince me that Solo Sokoa and the Wyatt Six has been great, and I'm like, John, what are we doing right now? No, I'm with you on that. Like, I understand where you're coming from on that perspective, because, like, honestly, like, he didn't attack the security guard. Like, we know that. Like, he didn't attack the security guard. The security guard attacked this character and stuff, tased him. Like, that's why I was wondering, is it like the medication they gave him? Was it like, did they have to give him a hard sedative? Like, but then again, maybe it's like Pittsburgh laws or Pennsylvania laws. Like, I don't know. Maybe laws are different in every state.
Yeah, I mean, different jurisdictions, different cities are going to have their own because you could have state law, you could then have county law, and then you could also have city ordinances. For the most part, I think it would be a state level for something like this.
Maybe the Pitt psychiatrist, maybe he's the best psychiatrist in Pittsburgh. And he's
possibly
he can just overrule anything.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, it just, that kind of thing bugs me, because it's we already give up a lot of our rights in general, and people just seem to be blasé about it, and that kind of stuff bothers me. But meanwhile, we have possibly the second best character. No, sorry, third best. Dana's the second best character in the Pit. Shows back up. I wrote down in all caps, King Abbott. Dr. Abbott, Dr. Jack Abbott shows up as a freaking SWAT physician. You're like, wait a minute, what is this? What can't this guy do? He's got a wounded colleague, Officer Hero. They, which I thought was hilarious, the fact that his name was Hero. He was a cop going to get shot, and I was trying to stop a warehouse robbery. But there was a warehouse robbery that went south. These guys thought, as Abbott says, it was a good idea to boost merchandise on a hot day with everybody busy with the holiday. The police were called. SWAT came in. This guy took a couple rounds. Abbott correctly notes that the muzzle velocity of a AR-15 is 3,000 per second, which basically means it's traveling that per second. Which, Kevlar and bulletproof vests. Bulletproof. They do what they do, but they're not going to stop like the actual impact in the body. That's why, like, if you're watching a movie or a TV and it's a good one, the character will still fly backwards. They'll still fall down. They'll have bruising, and which is what happens here. So this person, yeah, unless you're John Wick. So this character is gonna have bruising on his side from one round. He's got a whole bunch of issues here going up here with this trachea, and it's a transacted trachea. They try to fix it. There's a whole thing going on. They're trying to pull things out, get things because they had intubated. They got to pull the original tube out. They got to get a new tube in. They got to inflate the balloon. There's all these sorts of things that's happening. One of the funniest parts of this is that they got to sort of play it for laughs. Is that Al Hashimi walks in and she's like, "You're just gonna let some SWAT medic help you guys on this?" And Robbie's like, "Excuse me, Dr. Abbott here is one of the attendings. He's at the same level you are, lady. Shut your mouth." And very quickly, Al Hashimi is impressed by Abbott and his abilities, and they discuss once they get a hero stable. She talks to him about the Middle East, and she asks him if he was there. He said he spent a lot of time there, and she says that she was at Médecins Sans Frontières in Kabul, and she was at a maternity hospital in Dashtabarchi, where this is a real life thing. It's a true thing. A suicide bomber killed many mothers, many children were blown up that day. Al Hashimi, and so like a lot of people started theorizing that this is what was the reason, or this was the reason that Al Hashimi had that weird reaction to Baby Jane Doe, and she kind of got in her head and maybe had a flashback, a little PTSD, a little untreated PTSD, and we have Al Hashimi earlier when she was talking to Jackson's parents, she had a little bit of a freeze up, and she goes into a bathroom and just calls Pitt Neuro and says she's a patient of Dr. Fairgraves. So there's something there potentially with Al Hashimi and a mental health issue, which, they have the mental health patient. So it's a little bit, like to keep that theme going. What were your thoughts on Abbott showing up as a SWAT physician, and he's making the joke like, my physician said get a hobby and I hate golf. His interactions with Al Hashimi, the bonding, and then this Al Hashimi, like this, we learned so much about her in this moment, and earlier with calling Pitt Neuro. What were your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, first off, I was like, Abbott, no, you cannot be leaving as a doctor. Like, this is ridiculous. Like that, like I know it's been a while since your character's been on screen, but then I realized he's just in his spare time he works as a. When does this guy sleep? When does this guy even rest? This guy's a machine. He's an absolute unit. Dr. Abbott, one of the goats. Like, he's just one of the goats of this show. But yeah, no, I really like this scene. It was very strong. And then seeing that Al Hashimi, kind of like, because that was like the first character besides like the little jokes that she had with Robbie about like the bets and the beer and everything like that. Like, that's the first time that she actually showed like any sort of character. But yeah, once like she mentioned that, I was like, oh, I think that's familiar. And I Googled it and I was like, wow, that is something. I'm like, that makes sense. And so it could be something. And I've known this for a while with like some people that are dealing with a lot of like mental health, and it kind of is one of the things that why she's probably so attached to AI is that AI is kind of always there and they can always think of a response right away. So maybe part of her, therapy that she's been doing is talking to AI and, like asking AI about how to handle certain situations. And she's realized after following some of these steps that AI gives, which by the way is just Google. You can Google these steps too. You don't need to talk to an AI robot. But like she probably just feels like, oh, this is nice. This is the thing. And that it kind of makes me wonder. I'm like, this is why she's so obsessed with AI, because she has this PTSD and this trauma. And maybe this AI robot that she interacts with has helped her. So she's thinking, how come we cannot tie this into like the medical field? If it's been helping me, I'm like a good case subject, and then moving on forward and stuff. So yeah, I really like this. I thought it was very strong, to be honest.
Yeah. And one thing I thought was really funny was Abbott says to Alashimi, we should get a beer and trade war stories. And in the background, Robbie's like, hey, wait a minute, you're my friend. You're not her.
Yeah, exactly. Robbie's like, oh, what?
when she leaves, he said,
when does Dr. Abbott get a day off? Like,
you know what I mean? Like, this guy, when he meant grab a beer, he meant grab a beer while we're on a SWAT run.
Exactly.
But he says to Robbie, he's like, oh, so this is the new attending, huh? And Robbie's like, yeah. Well, we'll see how this happens. I need to make sure she can run the ER while I'm gone. Outside, we have had Becca get Mel's sister calling her to say that she's been in pain, and Mel doesn't really get a chance to talk to her too much. Meanwhile, Mohan, Slow-Mo, is out there as well. She's got a phone call with, I believe, her mom, and she's going back and forth with the mom a little bit, but both of them have to cut their phone call short because we have a new person coming in, a football player coming in with hydration issues, or what he claims are just hydration issues and overheating. They're going to treat him, and Slow-Mo sees Orlando Diaz trying to leave. So Slow-Mo passes him off, him meaning the hydration patient, to Langdon, and she starts talking to Diaz, and Diaz is like, I gotta leave. Like, I cannot afford to be staying here every moment, every kind of second or so. Every breath you take is food, it's school supplies, it's things that we need, it's rent payments. I cannot afford to one, be here because it's costing me to be here, but two, I can't afford to be here because I need to go to the job. Like, if it was taking rest, then the job is the issue, but this is not just rest, it's you're charging me to rest in essence. And so Samira says, listen, just hang out for a little bit. I'll get you all the things that you need to treat what you are going through at home. I did like one of the lines that she said there's still so much acid coursing through your blood or in your blood, and that was really powerful to someone like me. I'm like, wow, that's like the idea that this diabetes or this issue, this insulin resistance is causing that to this man's body. As somebody who doctors have told me, like pre-diabetic, both because of terrible eating choices, thought over the course of when I was younger.
No more big gulps, John.
No, that's there's no sugar in there. But
what?
There's no sugar in there.
What are you talking about?
I don't drink. I have not intentionally drank a regular soda since 2012.
Diet sodas have sugar in there, bro.
There's no sugar.
Are you drinking the 0-calorie ones?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as you're drinking the Sprite Zeros and the Coke.
Yeah. Like this is. I do not drink any. I swear to God, I've not had a regular, unless I'm like at a bar and they accidentally put Coke in like a rum and Coke. I always ask for rum and diets. I do not drink any I don't drink regular. So like if I go to a party or if I go to somebody's house and they don't have diet soda, I drink water. Or I drink like something.
What's your McDonald's order? What are you getting at McDonald's?
Well, I mean, it depends on what I'm there for.
What's your normal order? Just give me your normal order.
Well, so the thing is, if I'm normally eating at McDonald's, that's usually gonna be because I'm weird. Like I sometimes have only 2 meals a day. Sometimes I have 1 meal a day.
You're not eating enough either.
No. I trust me, I'm eating enough.
Oh my God.
with my weight, what it is, I'm eating enough. But like, no, like because when I was in the army, they said that I was 5'11" and 3/4, and that 5'10" and 3/4, and that annoyed me because my dad's 5'10" and I'm clearly 2 inches taller than my dad. Like I'm clear, like, and especially, I mean, now especially because I'm like right, like we are, we're right. He's starting to. My dad's like in his 80s now, so he's starting to get
He's starting to shrink.
Yeah, he's starting to shrink. Power driver finishers like Chase is gonna catch you slipping eventually.
Yeah, no, the power driver finisher. I'm trying to figure out how he's getting your order.
So where I'm going with this is
you just got to tell me your order.
No, hold on. It's because of bad food choices in my 20s. so 10 years ago. But
Yeah,
it's
I got a
also,
head start on
but it's
that.
also because both of my parents are diabetic. It's in the
Oh,
family. It's a genetic thing as well.
so you're like Jay Cutler.
Right. So I'm already like it's predisposition towards diabetes. So like that's why like now I'm at the point now I'm gonna be 37 in a couple weeks, but like I'm at the point now where like the doctor's like, hey, we really gotta figure this out. And like I also have an autoimmune disease, so it's like a whole bunch of different things, but like that sort of piggyback off of each other.
You might end up like Diaz, bro.
Yeah, so now, so that's what I'm saying. Like, when Samira goes, there's acid coursing through your veins. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, all right. Like, I was like, okay. So now you know you don't want to hear that from a doctor. You really gotta. And I mean, like, I've really changed a lot of my diet. But like, I mean, like, I don't eat rice anymore. Like, and which is I'm Indian, so like, rice is a stall. Like,
Yeah, that's tough.
it's I only eat quinoa now. If I'm having pasta, I don't have regular pasta. It's protein pasta or it's a red lentil pasta. A lot more lentils, a lot more leaner ground beefs and things like that, ground turkey, chicken, and so on and so forth. But like to your point, if I'm going to McDonald's, it's gonna be like that meal for the day. Like, because I also did like intermittent fasting for a while to bring down blood sugar and all kinds of stuff. But like so Diaz is convinced by Slow Mo that he should hang out for a bit, and so he goes back. But we later find out that he has left because Abbott. Again, this man is I don't know what else to describe this man other than just he's a gangster. He is basically treating himself for a bullet that a round that grazed him in the shoulder. He's having some difficulty reaching it. Meanwhile, he is in the room that Diaz was in, and Slow Mo comes in and is like, "Wait a minute, where's my guy?" And he's like, "There was nobody here when I walked into this room," and he asks Slow Mo, like, what Samira, like, what does she have with her? She says, I've got all this stuff for Mr. Diaz to have. I don't know how I'm going to get it to him. He's like, Uber it to him. And she says, is the hospital going to pay for that? And Abbott, another stone cold killer that he is, just goes, I'll pay for it. I don't give a shit. Like, we got to get the stuff to the guy. Like, that's what matters. Then Samira, which, the first time I saw it, it was just like, okay, Samira's trying to help out a colleague kind of thing. The second time on the rewatch,
Yeah,
as Samira is treating him, because she starts taking care of the bullet, the graze, it struck me as Samira controlling the controllables. It was her finding a way to, at least like in her mind, she was like, I failed Diaz, or I wasn't able to get the job done with Diaz, but I did with Abbott. Like that kind of sense of, I did this for me. And I think Abbott sort of realized that as well and was just like, I'll let you take care of
it. That's why he offered to help, because he was totally fine on his own and stuff. Like he seemed like he had it handled. Like he was chilling. Yeah. But he offered to help so that way she could feel good that she ended up helping someone instead of feeling like, oh, I failed because this guy just left after I said, hold on for a second.
Yeah, there's a lot of different characters that are consistently feeling as though they are challenged but failing. Mohan's one of them. Santos is another, and a third is Javadi.
Let's also throw Dr. Melkin in that, because we keep hearing about her deposition every 5 seconds. Like, I got my deposition. Got my deposition.
Have you ever been deposed?
Huh?
Have you ever been deposed?
No. Why would I be deposed? Well,
I don't know.
For what? Like I
don't know. I'm just asking.
I don't do anything to ever.
You don't always have to do something. I've been deposed and I wasn't involved in the lawsuit.
No, never been.
I wasn't named. Well, to say I was not a named party, but I was a former employee of a named party.
Maybe I'll get deposed one day. Who knows? Maybe the Chiefs will do something, and then that'll cause me to get a disposition. Maybe I'll get deposed at Arrowhead.
Oh, you know what? I saw, actually, speaking of which, I saw a fascinating thing. Not to sidebar too much, but would you trade? See, it's difficult because you're the Chargers fan. This is such a ridiculous question to ask you. Would you give one Super Bowl win to your hated rival in the AFC West in exchange for 3 Super Bowl wins?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, because it's the Chargers. They've never won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. 100. If I have to watch the Raiders go on a miracle Super Bowl run with Mendoza, sure, they can have that 1 year, but then I can finally get 3 Super Bowl wins, and I don't have to be depressed, and like I can just be a happy football fan. Like the organizations that get like a few Super Bowl wins under their belt, it feels so much better to watch football because you at least know your team can figure it out eventually.
I didn't even tell you the full technical hypothetical. The full version of the hypothetical was to trade 1 Super Bowl win for 3 back to back. I was like, any Chargers fan would take 1. They would do a 1-to-1, but you're gonna give them 3 and get say back to back. It was a bloodbath for Chargers.
There's no way. Like if I would take this, like if I have to watch all of the AFC West all win Super Bowls back to back, but then we win 3 after that, I'm okay with that. Like I will suffer through like you being like, we won another one, Chase. I will suffer through Raiders fans being happy. I'll suffer through Patrick Mahomes being like, this was the last ride, man. It's been a great one. Chiefs Kingdom, stand up. I'll suffer through all that just for the Chargers to win 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. But yeah, so it is like this idea of like being able to control the controllable. But for Mohan, we've had a lot of different people get challenges throughout this. Mel King has to go for her deposition, as Chase points out. But Giovanni,
she reminds us. It's like she thinks it's like when WWE they remind us of all the storylines.
To be fair, I can understand the stress because, like I was saying, I've been deposed, and 2, I have deposed other people.
No, but I'm saying the Pitt writers are reminding us that like this is not what it's like WWE this past week where they're like, what Pat McAfee said on SmackDown. Pat McAfee on SmackDown. We get it. He said something stupid it was controversial. His promo sucked. We get it. Like you don't need to remind us like during the Penta match. Like, and this just got me thinking, Corey, about what Pat said on SmackDown about these 5 foot. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, Javadi's she hasn't been tested that much yet in this season, but one thing that is happening is that she is continuing to get this pressure from all sides now about what she's going to do for her fellowship or residency program down the road. And this week or this episode, it's her father who brings over somebody from dermatology, and like there's a little bit of back and forth, and Javadi's just like, I haven't really made up my mind. It kind of sucks for her, like this idea of having all these parents being there at the hospital. Like if I had been her, I would have tried to match with a different hospital but hey, sometimes you got to live at home and do all those sorts of things, and it is what it is. Meanwhile, we have speaking of which, I will go back to Mel talking about her deposition simply because she is talking to Robbie about it, and Robbie says one of the nicest things he could ever say to Mel King, which is, you are one of the best residents I've ever had the privilege of teaching. And Mel is just like, really? Me? Like she's so happy about it. It's so, and like obviously Robbie means it, but like the idea that Robbie would just be like, yeah, you're like one of the best. Like, well, what are we doing here? But for her, like what that means, especially because we know how much Mel has a complex where like she has to have like sort of hero worship. She puts Robbie on a pedestal. She puts Langdon on a pedestal.
I think if Langdon would have said this, she would have fainted.
She
would have been like, really? You think I'm one of the best ever, Mel? And they would have had to treat her.
But meanwhile, speaking of Langdon, he has wisely set up a cooling room for the overheated football player, and there is this. I like how they juxtapose this because there is a through line here where Langdon knows what he's doing, and he has the foresight to say we're going to get a lot of overheat victims of overheatation, over exhaustion and stress from the heat. Let's set up a specific cooling room. Later, we are going to get 1, 2, 3 more people who are overheated and get to go to this room because of Langdon's foresight. But when that is brought, when Robbie hears about this, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's a great idea." And then somebody goes, "Yeah, Langdon thought of it," and Robbie's like, "Well, now I don't like it." Like he's just he's just like the now I don't like it guy. But Langdon,
Robbie's like my one coworker. So I have this one coworker.
yeah.
He likes me, so it's nothing that I do wrong. But there's just one coworker he cannot stand. He cannot stand. So anytime we say like, "Oh yeah, that was actually her idea," he would be like, "Actually, wasn't that great of an idea?" And it's like, what? And stuff like he will not give her credit. It's like the funniest thing. It's and she doesn't even know that he does not like her. It's like the funniest thing. I don't have the heart to do it. I'm too nice. She asked me like 2 months ago, like, "Hey, is there an issue between them?" What are you talking about? There's no issue. Just listen to your tribal chief. Just go do what you do on the floor. I'm really like the Roman Reigns at my work. I just gaslight my coworkers, tell them to do stuff for me, and then later on I talk about like what have you been
Don't
doing?
get me started on Roman Reigns and gaslighting, huh?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
What? Who did he gaslight recently?
what?
He been
Everybody. But thank God for my guy, Cash Money Phil. Thank God.
one
But anyway, speaking of the Pit and speaking of an OTC, our OTC, Dr. Robbie, is told that they have a patient that's going to be flying in from medevac. It is somebody who had a boating accident, swimmer versus propeller. There's no other information. So he's getting the gown on. He's getting up there into the elevator to go up to where that helicopter is going to arrive on the roof. And who pops into the elevator with him? But none other than Frank Langdon. And these two are finally in the same room together. Oh my God, the tension, it's palpable. You can feel it. You can feel how annoyed Robbie is. You can feel how uncomfortable Langdon is. The door finally opens. They're up there on the roof, and you can see the helicopter coming down. And Langdon's just like, "You know what? I'm just gonna say it.
I'm sorry."
He's like, "I'm sorry. I betrayed your trust. I betrayed our patient's trust." He's like, he's trying his best to just like apologize, just get it out there. And Robbie's just like, "I'm really glad you got the help you needed." so that Robbie's just like, "But I don't know if I want you working in my ER anymore."
Yeah, and that was a gut wrench.
It was like, "Son of a bitch." So they get the boating accident victim down on that person's side. Gnarly. One of the really good, and the Pit is famous for this, but already after one season, but a really good example of how good this makeup department is and props department is for getting those injuries, those propeller injuries on that person. Holy that was some crazy things to say. So they get this guy down there, and this is what I was saying earlier, is that Langdon is proving throughout the course of 6 episodes now, he's proving that he is still a good doctor. The old "you still got a chance." But as soon as he is in the room with Robbie and Robbie's watching him, it all goes out the window. And Langdon just starts freezing up, and he doesn't know like what he should say, what he should do. He's second guessing himself. Robbie sort of has to step in. Mel's there as a crutch trying to help this guy. And it sucks you to see it, because it's like, you're thinking to yourself, is Robbie just getting confirmation bias? Is he just getting information that's going to tell him he was right this whole time about Langdon, and that maybe Langdon had the wool pulled over his eyes, but can't trust this motherfucker anymore? What I thought was fascinating was Yolanda Garcia, the surgery, the OR lady. She shows up, Dr. Garcia, and she's taking the person away, and in the first season, her and Langdon had a solid back and forth all the time, like just jokes and spars and jabs and all that kind of stuff. Here, he sort of tries to do that with her, and what she says back to him, basically, like he's saying like, it's great to be back, and she's it was first day back kind of thing, and she just was like, "Well, I didn't really miss you," and that was Langdon's whole thing. It was like, are these people going to still be like my friends. And that was what he was saying to Dana, right? Like, nobody reached out to me over the past 10 months. Nobody was talking to me. Nobody was doing XYZ. And so now he's trying to, like, he's thinking he's just, with Garcia. He's kind of like offering up a softball, like, hey, say you missed me, right? And Garcia, like, intentionally or not, whether she means it or not, she could just be doing the normal.
No, this is probably her normal behavior.
Right, like
I
in
got
her
it.
mind, she's probably doing the normal banter, but she doesn't know what's going on in his mind. So she's just like, "Yeah, I didn't fucking miss you," but she's thinking she's joking, and he's like, "Son of like, damn." It wasn't Robbie who was getting confirmation or feedback loop or confirmation bias information. It's Langdon, because Langdon's getting reminded. How did you feel about this huge interaction? Finally, right? Like, we get these two guys in the room, the elephant in the room. There's two of them. There's Langdon and Robbie, and there's Langdon and Santos. And we get Langdon and Robbie, at least part of it. At least part, we start getting through a little bit of what we need to get through.
Yeah.
How did you feel about this one?
Yeah, because like a lot of people, like a lot of people will say, like, oh, how come Langdon didn't wait to, like do this with Robbie at a better time? And it's like, Langdon's like kind of like me. I'm someone, if I do something wrong to someone, I like to get the situation solved and over with. Let's cut the awkward crap. I hate feeling awkward. I hate feeling like not in control. I want the voices in my head to shut up about that I did the wrong thing. Let's get it over with. So I understand where Langdon was coming from. He was just trying to get this over with. He was hoping that, Robbie can just say something that Langdon wanted to hear, like something
Right.
positive, like that can make Langdon feel a little bit better. The relationship's not healed, but he wants to feel a little bit better. But then Robbie says, I don't know if I want you working in my ER. It just makes Langdon just be like, why the fuck am I here? Like, why am I even working here and stuff? Like, it's just one of those things that, like, it really struck home. It really struck. And, Langdon, like, he's just, and normally, like, he's the guy, like, when they do these OR scenes and stuff, or like someone's in trauma, it's always like Langdon's like the first one to say, like, get this in there, get this, and then here he's like stuttering. He's like, well, I don't know, I think, he's like whispering to himself because he's not sure, and Robbie's kind of there, so he's kind of freaking out about that too. So it's just like, I felt bad for Langdon in this scene for sure.
Yeah, it's just like it's so tough, right? Like, this idea of you think that you're atoning for the sins, or you think that you're trying to, right? And you can only go through, like, you can go through the 12-step program, but a part of it is that you have to, like, to seek forgiveness from people. And that's really what he's trying to do. He's trying to make amends with Robbie, and he can't. Robbie won't give him the time of day, and finally, when he does, Robbie just kind of shuts that shit down. Like, he's just like, it's not, like, we're not there, brother. We're definitely not there. And you can kind of understand why. Like, it's not something that is immaterial that Langdon did. It's not, something that two friends disagree with or something like that, right? Like, it's a lot more serious, because Robbie stuck his neck out to make sure that Langdon didn't lose his job or get criminal charges, right? And so it is a fascinating thing for Robbie to say, hey, I'll vouch for you in the sense of making sure you don't lose your job, but you're dead to me. And it's also crazy, because you would think, if this is how Robbie feels, just let the guy get fired. Why didn't you just let the guy get fired? If you're saying to him, I don't feel comfortable having you in my ER, well, then why would you have stuck your neck out for him in the first place? Why would you have only let him go to the rehab program? Let him get fired. Why does it matter? So it is kind of this idea of Robbie as this complicated character. Like, who is he supposed to be? Both father figure, mentor, but also friend to some of these individuals. And we see an example of that with Santos right after this, where Robbie goes to the nurse's station. Santos is trying to work on her charting. This is right after she has sung the Tagalog to the baby, and she's there, and Robbie comes over and he's like, hey, have you talked to Landon today? Talk to Landon today? And she's like, yeah, no, I'm not talking to that guy, because these are the two, right? Like, that's the elephant in the room. It's him and Langdon, and it's her and Langdon. And he's talking to her, and then interestingly, Robbie just like shifts right into that paternal father figure mentor. He's just like, "How are things at home? Like you and Whitaker?" And she's like, "Yeah, Whit's not really around." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And she tells him about how Whit is spending a lot of time with the burn victim's widow, and the she was pregnant at the time. She's had the baby. They had a little miscommunication there about Orphan Annie, which I thought was funny. They played that up for laughs. But again, Whitaker has not said anything that he and Amy are sleeping together. It's just Santos implying that they're sleeping together.
Mhm.
But it did lead to arguably one of the best lines in this episode, where Santos is saying, like, like I just want to look out for him because like he's such a fucking huckleberry, and which is the nickname that she has for him. And then Robbie goes, but he's our fucking huckleberry. And I was like, there it is. There it is. Robbie's it's the meme where it's like where the guy's like, this person is no longer my best friend. This person is now my best friend. And Robbie's like crossed out Langdon's face, and he's like, Langdon is no longer my best friend. Whitaker is now my best
Yeah,
friend.
exactly.
But Whit really is the child that the son that Robbie never had. But one thing I didn't like about this was, as much as it was a great moment, a great line, and all that kind of stuff, it is behavior like this that Robbie's doing, where they're talking about Whitaker sort of behind his back, and also he's acknowledging the use of the nickname that reinforces to Santos bad behavior. Like Santos is only mimicking the behavior that she sees. She saw Robbie joke around and do all
Monkey
sorts of
see,
things,
monkey do.
and that's why she does what she does. Now, to be fair, she did come up with the nicknames and things like that beforehand, before like we got a little bit further into what she was seeing from Robbie. But Robbie's behavior has not kind of downplayed that aspect of it. And we see her again use a nickname a little bit later, with she reminds Javati that she is Crash, because Javati runs the bathroom from dealing with the dad, dealing with the psychiatrist and everything, and then Jackson. And so Santos was trying to like take a quick cat nap in one of the bathroom stalls. Javati slams the door, the stall next to her, waking her up. That's where she uses the Crash nickname again. And what I thought was fascinating here is one of the most subtle reveals ever. They tell us or show us that it's either at some point or still Dr. Trinity Santos deals in self-harm, that she is a cutter because she has scars on her left thigh. What did you think about this interaction between Robbie and her, and also this revelation that Santos is a cutter?
Yeah, the interaction with Robbie and her is clearly like the manager that's like tight with like the non-manager person, like they're just like super tight and stuff. They have a good relationship. I'm like that with a lot of my managers, but I'm not monkey see monkey do like Santos.
Sure.
Like I'm very much like, hey, I still get my work done. Santos, like I remember there's 3 lessons I've learned from working part-time jobs that I've held true to every job I've worked, and it's worked out for me. And it's one manager when I was working at Del Taco, which I barely worked at, where he said, Oliver, if you want your life to be easy, make my life easier. And I said,
true.
Okay, boss.
Very true.
No problem. And I've done that at every job, and it's worked out well for me. I just do what I'm told. I'm just like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Another one was from my one manager, or not actually my manager, from when I was working at my community college. I was in the journalism department. My journalism teacher said, if you practice good habits, you will never have bad ones. And I said, oh, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So I even preach that every single time. Like literally all my operations team hates it during the holidays, because I'll say when they fuck up packing, I'll literally go, practice good habits and it'll never have bad ones. I literally yell that every single time. And they get so, like one time I said, I did the thing because of like with football, I have to repeat shit. Someone messed up packing. I said, guys, what do I say all the time? Practice good habits. And I'm like, have them finish it. I'm like, all right, we're going to try this again. But you finish the phrase, practice good habits. and you'll never have bad ones. I'm like, thank you.
It's
Can we
funny.
do that?
You just reminded me that one of I say something that was said in this episode to my wife all the time, and that's I was in the army and Abbott was in the army. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I say that to Colleen all the time because like it was funny because like Colleen is one of the most conscientious, detail oriented persons that I know. But once time starts getting away from Colleen, which usually happens because she's one of the most conscientious and detailed persons that I know, she tends to try to compensate by speeding up. And at that point, I'm like, hey, listen, if you're behind, you're behind. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Yeah.
The idea there is that if you take your time doing things, you will do it smoothly. And if you do it smoothly, there's no problem. And if you don't cause a problem that you then have to go back and fix, you're done faster. Hence, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. But your thoughts on Santos and being the reveal of her being a cutter.
Yeah, that one was pretty intense. Well, because like the thing was like first off, Jabati, she's having her own little issues because like her dad is clearly giving her a layup, like dermatology, like just Jabati chick. She seems very talented, and
Yeah.
and then she's being offered like a layup from her dad and stuff, and like Jabati, it's like the untapped potential of what this woman could be as a doctor and everything of that nature. So she comes crashing in, and obviously we see Santos taking a power nap, or maybe she was cutting herself. Those scars look awfully fresh from her leg. Like you have to like really pause it. But yeah, it makes sense that Santos inflicts in self-harm or something. A lot of times these people who have proud personalities and stuff, like they tend to have like the weakest egos or the weakest mentals. The what is it like? What's that saying? Like the pride before the fall or something like
Pride
that.
goes before the fall, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're like people who are too prideful and shit. They're the ones that sometimes have the weakest egos, and then like you'll know they have a weak ego because they'll be like, no, I don't. And it's like, okay, sure, like you have a weak ego. It's fine. Like it's fine. You don't have to pretend like you're Mr. Humble. It's okay, not a big deal. But yeah, for Santos, obviously she inflicts in self pain, and we'll see. Like, so I saw some people saying maybe that's why she's so big on abuse, that those scars are
Yeah.
or maybe abusive scars, but I don't know. Those look like self-harm scars and stuff.
Yeah.
Like those look like scars that she's putting into. They looked from like the makeup department, what they did, they looked way too fresh. They didn't look like scars that have been like healed over time and stuff. Because like as someone who has scars on his body, I can tell you what a scar that looks like healed over time. Like it's there, but you can't tell. Like if I take like a picture, like if I took up a picture shirtless, you would have to like super zoom in to like see see my scars. Like you wouldn't be able to just see them like if I was shirtless right now and stuff. So, but yeah, like yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy reveal, but it kind of adds more to the Santos character, and hopefully we do get like a follow up with this. Hopefully we get something to it for the end of the season. I mean, it's coming close.
It is really, like, because to your point about the idea of the abuse thing, like that could be the previous abuse that whatever abuse that she, the insinuation is that she received or that she endured, that could be why she is cutting, right? Like that, it could be just like her way of dealing with that pain or that trauma is to inflict pain upon herself. And so that may be, also to your point, why she is so adamant about trying to help anybody that she perceives to be going through something like that, so that because she knows what it could potentially lead to and how it can affect you in your personal life. Because there's an easy argument, or there's an easy thing to say that one of the reasons why she is so abrasive to everybody, or why she's so difficult to get along with, is because that's a coping mechanism. That's her protecting herself from anything happening. And so she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this to try to keep myself safe. So yeah, it sucks to see that, and it sucks to see that is happening with her. But she's not going to really have that much time to rest in the bathroom stall of the Pitt, because one of the reasons, right before she was going into the bathroom stall, we had a moment with Robbie and Al Hashimi, and when Robbie was talking to Santos, and Al Hashimi, she says she's got a call from the C-suite, and she comes back down with the CEO of the hospital. And it was thought it was kind of funny.
The CEO was like, the fuck are you calling me on my day off? Like the
Yeah,
fuck
it was funny as shit because like Mel's like, who's that? And he's like, and Robbie's like, yeah, that's Big Boss. Like, that's Dwayne. Like, if I'm OTC, that's Dwayne. So we've got the CEO there who is saying that the hospital may be vulnerable to a cyber attack because they have figured out that Westbridge was shut down because of a cyber attack. So what they're going to do as a preventative measure is that all computer systems are being shut down. Now, we finally get our explanation as to what's going on with Westbridge, so that betting pool will, the money's going to have to be dispersed. But Robbie is like, well, wait a minute, didn't you think you should talk to me about it? And the CEO says, yeah, I spoke to one of your attendings, meaning Al Hashibi. And yo, the look on Robbie's face, he was ready to commit murder right there. He's like, this? It's like, you talk to this bitch? Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Why are you talking to her? Like, I'm the head of the ER department. Like, I would understand if I wasn't here, but I'm here. Like, why wouldn't you talk to me? And obviously, Al Hashimi, like, we will find out that, as Al Hashimi says, like, I have experience with cyber attacks and things like that. That's why they wanted to talk to me. But also, Robbie, you're going on your sabbatical. Like, she's gonna be here. You're not. So, like, they want to, like, the CEO is just trying to get on the same page as with somebody like her, that they can kind of learn how they work with each other during terrible things like this. But the way this episode ends is with all computer systems going down. Robbie says, somebody get a picture of the board. We think that Whitaker snapped a picture of it before the board gets shut down. And as Robbie says, we're going analog. So now, episode 7, we finally get the big kind of what's going to be the big push for this season. What's going to be like the thing. So what did you think about this idea? Because like it could have been anything, right? Like it could Westbridge could have just had a flood. It could have just broken generator, a power line, whatever the case may be. But it turns out that it's going to be a cyber attack, and that they're gonna do a preventative measure of shutting down. What did you think about this as sort of like kind of the big reveal for the season, but also just what they're going to have to deal with over the next coming episodes?
I kind of figured that it was going to be like a cyber attack. Like I was on it's a cyber attack thing because I was doing all the things in my head. What could shut down a hospital? What's kind of trending in the news and stuff? And I was all like, oh, like a cyber attack. Like that's something that's been trending is cyber attacks. I can understand cyber attacks in hospitals. So I thought it was going to be a cyber attack. And it's also too, like a lot of the characters, they've been on their phones. They've been doing all these things. They've been looking up stuff on the internet. So I was like to myself, yeah, it's like try to see if these younger people can handle like an event, especially on one of the busiest holidays. Try to see if they can handle a cyber attack. Like that would be interesting. And I was fine with it. I thought it was good.
So here's what I wanted to. Here's what I was thinking. I'm wondering. Now, granted, I think they knew they more than likely were going to get a second season. But sometimes you don't know. So you got to go kind of balls to the wall. So I get it. But at the same time, I'm wondering if they had done something like this for the first season, whether
ain't getting no second season with this.
I think they would have I think they would have gotten a second season. But like my thing is, you are conditioning your audience now to really think, especially after that first season, that there's going to be something big that throws a crazy ass wrench into the plans and all this kind of stuff, especially because this is going to be a 15 episode. Every season is going to be a 15 episode season. We know they has to stay beyond the 12-hour shift. Do you think that they should have saved the idea of a mass casualty event for like a season 2?
Oh man, there's going to be so much other mass casualty events they can do. I mean, we saw a mini scale one that's going to be happening in the future in this season, like a mini version of. There's always going to be something, bro. Like there's always going to be something that they can fall back on, man. Like maybe a rare earthquake at the. Yeah, no, 911. They were stretching in the later seasons, bro. I can tell you that 911, all of them were stretching in the later seasons. I was like, what is heck? Maybe with the max, we don't maybe they tie into Dark Knight and maybe Bane's earthquake that kills everyone in the
Oh,
stadium.
that was 2012 though. This is
We,
2026.
we don't know what year that happened in the Batman universe. They didn't tell us.
We know a year.
No, but they didn't tell us a year.
We know a year.
No, are you sure?
Yeah.
Seems like it could have been 2000.
You know the other thing that would make it a little bit difficult. One of those events happened in a fictional city called Gotham City, and the other one happened in the other place is a real life city called the Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They just happened to film in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pines Ward was there, so I believe it.
Yeah.
That's why I say Pittsburgh. Who knows? No, they can do a lot of things. I understood why they went so hard for season 1 because it's not just for the networks and the audience, but you also just don't know in this day and age of television and what they label as limited series or series moving forward. Like the other show they have right now on HBO Max, the DTF show, which is pretty damn good too.
Yeah, DTF St. Louis or something like that.
We don't know if that's going to get a second season. So they're like that. That's the thing. Some of these shows nowadays that they film, they just don't know like what is like the future of them. So that's why they went hard in season 1. That's why I've been telling people now they can kind of ease up a little bit. And I think cyber attacks, there are big, as someone that, maybe I'm okay with it more than most audience members because I was in Vegas when they had their big cyber attack and my information almost did get stolen. And it was a miserable time to be in Las Vegas. I can tell you that. It was horrible. But I got a lot of comps out of it. That was the only good thing and stuff. But like, but the thing is, like, I can understand like a cyber attack being a big deal and stuff, and I think it's fine. It ties into a lot of the other themes and stuff. Like look, maybe the last season they do a callback to the mass shooting. They just say, fuck it, we ran out of ideas, like and stuff. Like like it's kind of like current day WWE. First season was like Triple H's first run where WWE was on fire, and we're all like, great. Now we're sick and tired of the pull apart bras and the masked men and all the other storylines that he keeps rehashing. It's okay. Like a lot of great shows go through this. We should just be happy that the Pit is
keeping it fresh.
Is in the second season. They're getting the third season. We'll have to wait and see before the fourth season.
Yeah, there's just that part of me that like is wondering from like that narrative aspect, like would it have made more sense to try to save something like that? Like I'm not saying not to do something cool or something crazy or something like that, but like specifically like that level of a thing, it just was really interesting. I thought to myself like, wow, like because the problem is now in going into season 3, which we know they've been renewed for, I'm like, what are they going to do now? Like what new thing can you do to try to create this level of tension and all that kind of stuff? We'll see how they pull that off. But that's for us for right now, that's gonna be something that we figure out at a later date. Chase, let the people know where they can find you, my good sir.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at ChaseOliver68, YouTube, Around the Point Network, and whenever I can come here on Trio Heat Sports Entertainment and the Trio Heat channel.
And you guys can catch me here all the time on the True Heel Heat Sports Entertainment channel. I thank you all for tuning in. Well, we're here to clock in, clock out, all that kind of fun stuff, talking about the Pit. That's not everything that we have here. We have the True Headphone Heat, where we did have the Yay Bully review. Sid and I went through track by track. You can catch that one here. Meanwhile, there was True Heel Heat Check 29, Luka out, dealing with the Luka Doncic injury. We also have Sid doing his Daredevil Born Again reviews with Corey Brennan from Fightful. A lot of different things that we cover on this show. And of course, Chase and I are going to be back soon with a episode of True Offseason. There's a lot that I'm like writing down, like accumulating to talk about. I mean, we just had the fun bombshell about Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini.
Did you see what Dave Portnoy tried to do?
No, what did he do?
So he posted a photo, and it was like of him, Taylor Law, not him, someone from Barstool, Taylor Lawn, and Will Compton. They were all hanging out by the pool with Vrabes and Rossini. And I was all like,
Portnoy, what are you doing, man?
Will Compton, in that same afternoon that this photo apparently was taking his kids and his wife to see Hoppers.
Oh, yeah, Colleen and I do want to see that. We do want to see Hoppers.
I would say wait till it comes on the plus.
Well, pile driver finisher, listen, you're welcome. What can we say but you're welcome? You got to feel human emotion.
But you're welcome.
But yeah, Chase and I are going to be back to talk, sooner rather than later. I know we want to do a draft kind of preview kind of thing. So maybe we'll try to do maybe a combination, like some quick news here and there. There hasn't been too much news wise, but
maybe next episode we can play a game with the Immaculate Grid to like fill in some time. Have you played the Immaculate Grid?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I think I know what it is, but like I don't think.
Oh, do you want to play a game after the show?
Sure. Yeah, you can run me through and see what it is.
It's fun. It's fun. I love it.
But yeah, we want to thank you guys as always for tuning in. We will be continuing to bring you fun stuff and fun conversations about the pit and making people like Pile Driver Finisher feel emotions. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of Chase, we want to thank you again. Remember, take care of yourselves and each other. We will catch you all later. Peace.